a little shaky here. I've just not been able to start doing all the work I need to do to get ready for a conference that it's coming up really soon. My bad. I just wanted to let everybody know in the literacy space that no more drama from the hellscape that I have been immersed in the past. Anyway, doesn't matter. No more drama from them. I mean, I'm sure they're going to throw something my way, but it pertains to me personally. I don't worry about them. I'm not really worried about them. I don't really care about them. They can fall off the face of the universe for all I care. Right now, though, I am 100% dedicated to making sure that everybody understands that the panel that I am doing, ironically, ties into everything going on in my life with this abysmal hellscape of a district that is what I'm now referring to as the Gatekeepers of Literacy. So when I say the Gatekeepers of Literacy, and I posted this over on Substack and I uploaded it to YouTube, and I'm going to stick to it, and I mean this. The Gatekeepers of Literacy in the state of Georgia, they pretend like they give a shit about kids. And I know some folks said, oh, you could have chosen better language. Quite frankly, when I'm working for kids and fighting for kids, I get to a point where I don't really care what comes flying out of my mouth as long as it gets the point across. All right, so that's on that. And as it pertains to individuals who want to gatekeep my tone, I'm more of that either. Not that I ever really allowed anybody to gatekeep my tone, but you're really out of line. Moving on. So, the Gatekeepers of Literacy here in the state of Georgia, it's really bizarre. These individuals really, really, really wanted children to learn to read. And so, they allowed moms to bust their ass for 40 days while they sat back and reaped the rewards. Those individuals are now scheduled to speak at DyslexiaCon with Kareem. One of them is on a panel with Kareem Weaver. Weird. These gatekeepers, why I'm bringing them up. Now, if these individuals wanted things in the state to actually get fixed, why would they have not asked any of the moms, any of the parents that have been in the trenches fighting this state tooth and nail for 10 years? Why would they not ask any of us to be on that literacy committee? Why would they not ask for feedback from parents? Especially the parents of children that were involved with SB 48, which is currently rolling out right now in Georgia, which is failing miserably in public schools, as an FYI. Because, again, nobody on this literacy committee or in the state of Georgia thought that moms would have anything to say about it or help. And that's just gross. Instead, you gave $15 million to a philanthropic effort for literacy coaches. How's that working? Yeah, them too. But the gatekeepers here in the state of Georgia, they're old white men. They're old white men. Let's just be real. They've always been old white men. They're old white men across the country that have been gatekeepers of literacy. These individuals, regardless of political affiliation, because I really love when this happens. I love when somebody gets mad at me because, oh God, how dare you speak to somebody that's in this party? Or how dare you associate yourself with that party? How dare you talk to that person? You don't get to tell me who I work with to make sure children learn how to read in the state of Georgia or read across the country. I do whatever the hell I want and whatever is needed to make sure that that mission is accomplished. So, getting back to the hellscape known as Georgia. Everybody wants to prop Sandra Duncan Dill up on a pedestal, which I agree. Great woman. Her husband, not so much. Old white man who appointed the devil known, I'm not going to say his name, but you can Google this easily. He was the Department of Juvenile Justice Director for quite a while. That man, we all knew, was the devil. That man is literally now working in this hellscape of a district, and Parents in this district have no idea what this man has done. None. They don't know. Nobody knows what the man has done. Furthermore, they don't even know that the guy that they all think is like perfect, or that they all love, and that the state of Georgia loves, Nathan Dill. So here, let me go ahead and give you the tea on this and why I'm involved in it. So Nathan Dill, well, quite frankly, he's the devil. So his wife was a good human, but turns out he's not, and he never was, and I already knew that. Everybody knew that. But, you know, it's a sad day when constituents of his, in his district, in his county that he resides in, and still owns property in, don't even know what GNETS is. What was GNETS, Nathan? What was GNETS? What did you get in trouble for in 2015? What did you use as a distraction tactic in 2015? In 2015, the Department of Justice sued the state of Georgia, in particular, DOJ versus Nathan Dill and GNETS, because Nathan Dill and GNETS were experimenting on nonverbal children and or children with disabilities, whom had been segregated from their gen ed peers and placed into state-sponsored schools. And these children were being exposed to some not fun things. Their mental health was allowed to be tinkered with. And the parents couldn't do anything about it. The parents would be reported for truancy if their child did not show up. The parents would also lose access to their child, and per their own handbook, which is still out there, that I've already read, children inside of GNETs, if their parents didn't allow their children to attend, then Child Protective Services would get involved, and they would take the children away, and they'd keep them. Follow the linear path that I'm about to go down. Insert this district, insert Nathan Dill, insert the individual who was fired by Kemp as soon as Kemp entered office. Would you like to know why? Kemp worked directly under Nathan Dill. Kemp knew the level of evil that this man had bestowed upon children in the state of Georgia. Now, Kemp's wife's legacy is children, making sure that children are protected at all costs. Kemp's legacy, education, right? What is the worst thing possible optics-wise for Kemp? Oh, to have somebody on staff that he inherited from Nathan Dill that was throwing children into prison, feeding the pipeline to prison via our school districts in this state. The things this man did to children, meaning the individual, the former DJJ, that he tried to resign, by the way. He wasn't allowed to. Emmanuel Jones, the senator from DeKalb County, well, he's the one that found all the things, and he's the one that made sure that Kemp did not allow this man to resign. He made sure that this man was fired. Turns out there's a whole bunch of people that aren't in the know about this in this district. And unfortunately, now they are highly aware and they're disturbed. You know, it's really bizarre when you parade this man around in your Board of Education meeting as if he's the next coming of Jesus or something like that. When, I don't know, last night, not even just last night, but I made the public aware last night. I actually went out and I gave them information readily available, so it's not slander, it's not libel, none of the things. Go ahead and get in your feelings. You're not protected by anybody. Everybody in this state actually hates you, and they're actually appalled that you're working with children, so there's that. So I went out and I provided the public with links regarding this man's behavior and everything that he did to hide what was going on in the juvenile system during his tenure. There was one particular event where he withheld information from an investigation where an employee who was a whistleblower was trying to actively make sure that people followed the rules. She didn't do anything wrong, but then she received a threatening email instructing her she needed to back off because her peers weren't going to like her. Well, not Nathan Dill was in office when this happened, by the way, so I can say his name. Nathan Dill knows that this happened. So Nathan Dill's employee, his handpicked employee for the DJJ. This woman had a juvenile walk by her and make threats, and she reported that juvenile. Now, when they did the investigation into this, the DJJ, meaning Avery Niles, I'm going to say her name now, Avery Niles decided to withhold information in the investigation. See, what happened to this woman was an officer walked the juveniles into the would be considered a rec room, I guess, whatever. And there was no officer watching them. She walked off and left the juveniles that had threatened this employee, whistleblower, whatever you want to call her, had threatened her life. Left them. That's breaking protocol. And what happened after that? They went into her office, and you can watch the physical beating of this woman where she, as a result of said beating, got a traumatic brain injury. She overdosed on accident due to the amount of drugs that she had to take due to said injury. Turns out that evidence that they didn't want to turn over shows her co-worker handing said juvenile things. They were exchanging items. And that right there was the proof that they allowed this woman to be beat so badly that she suffered a traumatic brain injury and she never recovered. So why does this play into my panel at the Reading League? Well, we've long known here in the state of Georgia that we are very heavy on the pipeline to prison. I've spoken on it numerous times regarding my own friends. What we have a habit of doing here in Georgia is allowing old white men as superintendents to throw children in prison for something as small as skipping school. Granted, there are some extreme cases, but most of the kids, they didn't do anything. And turns out that one of the oldest ones in this state, and the reason that I still fight that district, that man was arresting children for off-campus activity. Minor infractions that ended up resulting in those children turning into adults in prison, meaning they spent more time in prison than they did out of prison. Linear thinking, pipeline to prison, Nathan Dill, Avery Niles, all of it. It all plays together. And then we go and we tie in this whole gatekeeper to literacy thing. Now, I know that phrase is used, but in my case, it's going to be used in a very specific way. To those who see this and you know who you are, look, I'm done with old white men preventing children from learning to read. I am done with old white men picking and choosing who they think deserves the right to learn to read. You know, some of y'all had us fooled. Some of y'all had us thinking that y'all were good people and that, it didn't matter what side of the political spectrum we resided on. We all had the same goal. We all had the same interest. It was all over Twitter. Everywhere. Awkward. Saved all those tweets. Saved all that information. So, brings me back to my panel. The reason I'm doing this panel is called Undiagnosed, the Ugly Side of Dyslexia. Because I'm doing the panel because everybody knows I don't even need to write a presentation. I don't need to do a presentation. I don't need to do slides. I don't need to do any of that. I don't need to do anything to prep for this on my side. Because I've lived it. I've watched it. I've watched it rob me of every single friend I had in Gwinnett County. And then to find out that the reason that those friends of mine were robbed from me has been done on purpose and tactfully due to the gatekeepers of literacy in the state of Georgia. I've got a whole new angle for this now. I've got a whole new level of anger attached to this now. And I know, it'll be frowned upon. Because we got to make sure that everybody at the conference, we got to make sure that everybody is comfortable. But that's not what I'm in the habit of doing, is it? My panels aren't like that. My professional development holds nothing back. I tell people absolutely everything that is involved with this. So you'll be a part of my presentation at the panel now. Congratulations, Georgia. You thought you were going to be doing the right thing. You thought you were going to be in the limelight. You thought you were going to get all the accolades for fixing it. You didn't do a damn thing. No. All y'all did was reap the rewards of what 6 moms busted their butts to have taken care of. I don't care that you report directly to Kemp. I don't care that you're hand appointed by Kemp. I don't care that any of you are elected officials. You're all complicit. You know damn well what's been going on, and you've allowed it to happen. So congratulations, you've now placed yourself on the panel at the Reading League. When I do my panel for Undiagnosed, the Ugly Side of Literacy, I will make sure to let everybody know about the gatekeepers of literacy in the state of Georgia being old white men. It's like Jim Crow 2.0, only that you're preventing children in this state from learning to read based off of their socioeconomic status, the color of their skin. And if you want, that's right. This is the best part. You're doing it so we have a working class. You're picking and choosing who can be literate based off of the need for those to work in factories and farms across the state of Georgia. Now, I'm not saying Kemp's that evil dude, because he ain't the evil dude. The evil people are the ones that know me. To the entire state board of education, you can all go to hell. All of you. Especially to the women that know that all the work I've done in this state has been on behalf of children. Is this personal for me? It is very personal for me. Because I don't really care about y'all. I never have. You've always been useless to us. You still are. You know why? Because I've sent you, I don't know how many emails, and you've read them repeatedly, and you've done nothing to stop it. Nothing. You won't even do something like bring up in a board meeting that, maybe that district shouldn't be allocated more money to experiment on a child's mental health, when that district has a 7.9 proficiency rate as it pertains to children on an IEP being able to read. So everybody in this state can kiss my ass. This is my hype video. I may redact some of it, I may not. But I'm going into this conference, and if it's the last conference I do, that's fine. If it's the last time I'm invited back to this conference, that's fine. What everybody will hear, though, everybody will hear what gatekeepers of literacy inside the state of Georgia have done, especially to a mom who has spent 10 years fighting for legislation, fighting for every child in this state, filing complaints, holding people accountable, suing a school district twice, who ironically has me on 2 superintendent councils, so it's not me. I ain't the problem. I'm not the problem. So the messaging y'all keep sending me saying, oh, you're like a bull in a china shop, you scare people. Good, I'm glad I scare people. They need to be scared. Because once I get my hooks into something, I don't let go, do I? You all hoped this would go away. You all wanted this to go away. You all told me to behave, sit down, don't go nuclear, don't say anything out loud. Unfortunately, by you doing that, you allowed that man in this school district to come after me personally. He has attacked me. He has slandered me. He's breached my confidentiality. He is now retaliating against me online. He is now actively trying to get my social media, everything wiped. How in the hell is it okay for you to say for me not to go nuclear? And that you'll handle it? You didn't do a damn thing. Y'all just sitting back and watching. See, that energy right there is why I don't trust politicians, and it's why I don't trust anybody at the state. I don't trust anybody in this state to do a damn thing to fix this, because my own lived experience in this state, I was on my own. I had to fight that district, and I had to fight for the life of my child by myself. Nobody in this state gave a shit. No one. Knowing damn well that the Georgia DOE and the Georgia BOE had physical evidence of my child being physically and mentally harmed and academically harmed. You did nothing, Lisa Kenmore. You're my rep. Nothing. I don't have anything nice to say about anybody in the state of Georgia going into this panel, which is really disgusting and depressing, because I really wanted to. I really wanted to take one for, I really wanted to make sure that we looked good. Because we're going to be in North Carolina, and there's individuals in North Carolina whom will be speaking, and they'll be speaking from the side of the legislation panel. Unfortunately for this, or that part, I actually know those people. The reason you have legislation in North Carolina, by the way, is I'm one of the moms that kind of forced the feds and forced the state to make change. Yeah, so during 2020, I was actually inside of North Carolina fighting like hell for kids and filing complaints left and right, because North Carolina is a certain kind of damn evil. They also are gatekeepers of literacy. They are also extremely racist, and they also handpick which children will learn to read and which children will not learn to read. You're still doing it. I don't care what your legislation says, you're still doing it. At least in Atlanta. Can't say outside of Atlanta. At least in Atlanta, we hire the right people. We're not perfect, but we're a lot better than all these districts out here with all these white, affluent, rich people. Especially all the old white men and the bless your heart women. So, sit back, relax. This is kind of my build up to my panel at the Reading League. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope everybody that watches this and knows who I'm talking about enjoys it. You're not going to be made to feel comfortable. You will not be heralded as heroes. You will not be heralded as the men you want to be. You will be revealed to be absolute cowards and complete racists. Bye.